I'd always wrestled with the contradiction that happiness can be found through adversity. It seems that great hardships often lead to our greatest achievements. I hadn't experienced any new challenges for a long time. My life had become a series of checkboxes and automated routines, nothing more than a fancy exercise in muscle memory. But burning inside me was the call to adventure, the desire to break free from the safety nets and creature comforts, and maybe even find happiness through the hardship. So I decided to act on impulse. I booked a one-way flight to Tasmania, and worried about the finer details later. I strung together a route across 2 national parks, Walls of Jerusalem and Cradle Mountain Lake St. Clair. I'd be walking along a combination of marked and unmarked trails, as well as summiting a handful of peaks along the way. And I imagined that 10 days worth of food would be sufficient.
So I finally made it to Launceston. It's been a crazy 2 weeks organising everything for this hike. It was pretty last minute. The last 5 months I've been recovering from a meniscus tear, so that's something that might cause me an issue. Hopefully it holds up, but I have a knee brace. I'm just going to take my time, take it slowly, get it done. I tell you what, this 27 kilos on the back is, I can feel it, that's for sure.
The 600 metre ascent up to the plateau started off in dense bushland and finally opened up into sparse patches of greenery and the glimmering tarns of Solomon's jewels. A few kilometres later, I was inside the formidable Alpine fortress, known as the Walls of Jerusalem. The entire region is a delicate ecosystem that rests upon an endless aqueduct of fresh water, a sanctuary for unique plant life and a few furry locals. The walking track passed through pencil pine forests and button grass plains, leading me all the way to Dixon's Kingdom campground. I woke up to a hostile and unrecognisable landscape. Feeling cold and uninspired, I slowly trudged through the turbulent winds and ice shards spiralling down towards me. The thick cloud of fog followed me from camp all the way to the summit of my first peak, the temple.
I came up to the temple this morning to watch the sunrise, and Tassie had other plans. As you can see, there's no visibility, but that's alright. Just get to wake up at 4:30 and stretch the legs.
But persistence pays off. The following morning I was able to capture some moody panoramas before the valley disappeared beneath the rolling fog.
I'm heading south tomorrow, and I'm going to get to a little bit more remote locations with less trekkers around. There's quite a few unmarked trails that I'm going to be walking on as well. The weather's supposed to turn in a few days. It's supposed to be some heavy rainfall, so that kind of sucks, but you know, whatever happens, I'm prepared. I've got all the gear I need. Yeah, bring it on.
I pushed south beyond the crowds and the curated pathways of Dixon's Kingdom. The trail that runs alongside Lake Adelaide receives noticeably less foot traffic, but the footpad is well worn and easy to follow. Although I was confident in my planning, many uncertainties remained, such as the reliability of river crossings and navigating stormy peaks with a heavy pack. The illusion of danger becomes more acute in the absence of fellow hikers and trail markers. Suddenly, all these small concerns seem so much more pronounced. You feel every bump on the road, every little twist and turn.
Goes without saying, it's absolutely spectacular here. I've got the whole place to myself.
After all of my camp chores were done, and the sun was sparkling on the shores of Lake Meston, a strange feeling came over me, and it was not one that I'd anticipated. It was the subtle ache of loneliness. I'd envisioned this moment for 2 weeks, a lake in perfect isolation, surrounded by mountains and ancient forests. It's what I'd come all this way for, but somehow felt detached from the moment. Was I really craving human interaction, or just looking to distract myself from the uneasy void of silence? I wondered, were these just withdrawals from the connectedness of the modern world? Either way, this was a thought that required further exploration down the line. I woke up without the introspective baggage from the night before, probably because I had a new distraction: summiting Mount Rogoona. I pressed along the western shores towards the old Meston hut, where I signed the obligatory logbook and left with the day pack for the 1,300 metre peak. Perched high above the waters of Lake Myrtle, I felt a rising change in the atmosphere and noticed a strange gathering of clouds way off in the distance. So I quickly made my descent, arriving at Junction Lake a few hours later as the skies grew darker and the trees began to stir all around me.
I'm just chilling in my tent because the mozzies, there's one got inside, whatever they are trying to eat me alive. And yeah, it was a big day. Just the pack that I'm carrying, all the food and all the gear, it's just, it's kind of weighing me down. My knee, that's kind of, making me go quite slow as well. So I'm at the Mersey River crossing, and there's a little bit of water, but it's definitely passable. So I'll get across this, and then the only thing to contend with is the rain. Getting up to this range, it's gonna be a climb. It's gonna be a hard day, that's for sure.
The seldomly used trail into the mountains was wildly overgrown, and ever so slowly returning back to nature, receding with each moss-covered stone and brand new cluster of wildflowers. At Lake Artemis, the vague footpad split off into several directions and then disappeared entirely.
I doubt you'll be able to hear me. Yeah, it is a shit day for it. Absolute shit day for it.
The terrain was slow going, and the tiger snakes whipping through the undergrowth were a constant drain on the psyche. I found a clearing on the western banks of Lake Merope, but ripped my tent's outer tarp and then cut my hand whilst trying to repair it. Finally, I established camp and sought shelter from the elements.
Alright, so I'm just checking in from the old command centre. Today started okay. Walking on that trail to Artemis Lake. It was a nice, beautiful trail through like a rainforest. A little bit of rain, but that was okay. I was so fucked. And then from there, I scrubbed the bash 3 kilometers to the end of Lake Merope, which is where I'm at now. And it's I had to set up the tent in the rain. It's blowing a gale outside. All my shit's wet. This probably comes as a surprise to no one. Scrub bashing through 3 kilometers of Tassie scrub is not fun. And I mean that. It was fucking hard.
My tent was battered by wind and rain all throughout the night, but in true Tassie fashion, I woke up staring into open blue skies above me. As I climbed towards the top of the range, I was scanning the horizon for cairnstones and a footpad, but found neither. Although completely trackless, there were large slabs of rock to follow, so I skirted around the dense forests and deep tarns of the Traveller Range. After a day of fine weather, I made camp by the northwestern slope, overlooking the Ducane Range.
Got a little campsite up here on the summit. It's a little bit exposed, but yeah, we'll see how we go. And yeah, when I descend into the Ducane Gap tomorrow, I'm going to converge with the overland track, which is a very busy hike in Australia, if you didn't know. So that's going to be a change of pace from the last few days where I've just been by myself. But it is what it is.
After some big days on the trail, it was incredibly rewarding to behold such a view. 3 days without seeing a soul and I finally felt adjusted to the solitude. Or perhaps it was just that the light was so perfect, I had a million photos to keep me busy. Either way, I was on cloud 9 and nothing could tear me down. Unless, of course, my damaged tarp blew away in my highly exposed campsite. But luckily, there was barely a whisper overnight, and I woke up feeling refreshed in the still morning air.
So I'm going to drop into the Ducane Gap now, meet up with the overland track, and then I'll officially be in Cradle Mountain Lakes and CLAIR National Park. I don't know much, but I do know one thing. This is not the way you're supposed to descend down to Ducane Gap. What I've just come down. Oh, it was fucking ridiculous. Almost there.
I emerged from the bushes on some random stretch of the overland track, donning a few extra scratches, a broken mic cable, and a missing lens cap. With all things considered, the man-made footing was a welcome change as I tore down the luxuriously wide track into the prehistoric canopy of Pine Valley.
It is summer right now in Australia, and we have amazing little snowstorm in the blue sky. So it looks like Tassie finally got the best of me. I was planning on staying up here at the Labyrinth tonight, and then crossing over the Minotaur and Mount Gould over the next few days, doing a little bit more trackless walking, but given the current weather, I don't think that's going to be happening. So what I'll do is probably stay back down at Pine Valley campground for the next few nights, and just do a few little day trips just to scope out the area. But yeah, it goes to show you that Tassie can literally throw anything at you.
So I tried to get up to the Acropolis today, but it was super slippery, so I called it, which kind of sucks because everything I've tried to do in Pine Valley has kind of failed due to the weather.
I left the valley under the cover of darkness on a gentle stroll to the glassy shores of Narcissus Bay. As I shot across Lake St Clair, I stared back at the range that had defeated me. I didn't know it yet, but this Tasmanian journey was far from over.
just a low ballet. Oh, trying to find a thought to escape to my.
Bumming around Hobart for a week, I felt partially fulfilled, but also the nagging pangs of regret and a sense of incompleteness. So for one last time, I decided to act on impulse. So, after chilling at Hobart for about 6 days, I've decided that I'm going to go back to do the Acropolis. I'm going to go back to summit the Acropolis. So I was headed back to Pine Valley, this time armed with an ultralight pack stripped down to the raw essentials and a perfect window of weather. This was a hit and run mission, 1 day in, 1 day out, and then I'd catch a flight back to Brisbane to reunite with my responsibilities and pick up life where I'd left it. So here we are, last stop of the journey, the summit of the Acropolis. Glad I came back up here to do the whole thing because the view is spectacular and it's an absolutely cracking day for it. Not a cloud in the sky. I kind of wish there were a couple of clouds around so I can get some moody mountain shots, but beggars can't be choosers. Yeah, look, I hope I've inspired some of you guys to, or girls, to do your own, intrepid solo journeys. It's, there's a lot of pros and cons, but I think there's definitely utility in doing solo hikes, challenging yourself, and seeing what you're made of. Just do it safely. Make sure you're well prepared for the environment that you're going into. You got decent equipment, and you're physically fit. Other than that, if you've got any questions about the specifics of what I've done, leave them in the comments below, and I'll try and answer them. And yeah. All right, see ya.
If the sun comes up my old Labyrinth,
Oh fuck. Maybe we got as far as we can get with that. Took me out.
Well, the first verse was good. It was pretty good, man.
Actually, I like the way you're picking it was actually really good. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good. Should we do it again?
Can you do the chorus though?